operations for the New York State Athletic Commission, and that's how I came to my job with them when I retired from the state. I was also one of the founding members of the Association of Boxing Commissions, which is the National Association of the Boxing Commissions. And one of the rules that we had, and I think it parallels one of the rules that you have here, is that as a regulatory body, athletic commissions should not be part of a sham or collusive act. Our rules had that in New York, and I used to say, well, how can we regulate something that we know is predetermined, the outcomes are pre-staged, and we're sitting there to regulate this event? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't belong within an athletic commission. If 20 years ago or 30 years ago, if you said to a wrestler, is it fake, he'd probably put you in a headlock. Today, that's not the case. We acknowledge that it is entertainment events.
Wasn't there a news reporter that was put in a headlock and
many years ago for asking the same question? John Stossel. Yes.
Yeah, John Stossel.
John Stossel for asking that question.
Yeah.
I don't think D. David Schultz. Yeah, no, he hasn't. D. David Schultz. For those of the representatives who are not familiar, we just completed one of our pay-per-view events in Seattle, Washington on Sunday. That was held at Safeco Field. It was the largest attendance ever for that facility. We had over 54,000 people in attendance. The pay-per-view event was shown in over 200 countries around the world on pay-per-view. And just to give you a little idea, as I said, we do 12 pay-per-view events a year, one a month. Our tax to the state of California for that event was approximately $140,000 for that one event in tax. We then did TV last night in Key Arena, and we're in Spokane, Washington tonight for TV. We're doing 3 days direct in the state of Washington.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Representative
I wonder if your organization might be willing to pony up the money for a stadium that could be used for
well, we could probably promote enough events in your state, and we would like to, that may add to at least the down payment for the stadium. Oregon has been for many years one of the locations that we do want to come into. Rose Quarter we've had ongoing dialogue with them. We have dates on hold already. In fact, May 31st, we put a date of hold on May 31st to try and come in. We've committed to do our live events in this state. We've committed to do our televised events in this state. We just need the opportunity to be able to do so. And this bill would give us that opportunity. One of the questions, and I don't want to belabor it, but I may answer some of the questions that you may have, is, well, how do we control the safety of the wrestlers? We are no different than any other entertainment event that comes in. The safety of our wrestlers is paramount to us. After all, they wrestle tonight, they have to wrestle tomorrow night, and they have to wrestle the next night. There is absolutely no intent, and we go overboard to make sure that they don't hurt each other. We have our own team physicians that travel. We have our own medical exams. It is self-contained and self-sufficient because it has to be. They are entertainers who are also great athletes and great acrobats, if you want to use that word. There is no government regulation of acrobats from Ringling Brothers when they come into the state, and there shouldn't be of our association. So we would look for the opportunity to come in to the state and to provide what we do in every other state. And we hope you would consider the bill.
If I could,
Go ahead.
Chairman. Stan Pulliam, I'm the legislative assistant for Representative Smith. First, I saw it being handed right in front of you was a testimony statement. Jay Isaac, the senior vice president of Rose Garden Arena Corporation, was unable to make it today, but he did submit a statement in support of the bill. Obviously, the Rose Quarter has some invested interest in House Bill 3581. Second, you probably have seen some proposed amendments that have come forth on this bill, and I kind of would like to maybe give a short explanation of why that is.
That would be fine.
When we first came to the idea of developing House Bill 3581, we perhaps thought that it would be best to eliminate the wrestling regulation altogether from the Boxing and Wrestling Commission. Since then, it's been brought to my attention that if we did that, we'd come in conflict with Ultimate Fighting, which is somehow came under the provision of wrestling, which makes sense under the current definition of wrestling. Two opponents trying to immobilize each other until one contestant cannot finish the match. As a result, we've introduced a new term, entertainment wrestling, and the definition within that is entertainment wrestling means a performance in which the participants deliver blows or apply holds with no intent to punish or immobilize an opponent. Entertainment wrestling is distinguished from boxing, extreme fighting, and wrestling by the fact that the outcome of the performance is predetermined. That's a definition that we developed with the promoters and with the Boxing and Wrestling Commission. The Boxing and Wrestling Commission, I think it should also be stated that they will still handle the licensing of a promoter within their commission, and there's actually a statement in there that states that the promoter, let's see here.
You're talking about page 3 on line 14? Is that where you're looking for it? Promoter means a corporation, partnership, association, so on and so
right.
forth.
It defines that they'll hold a promoter's license, but actually, I'm looking at page 6, line 28.
All right.
Notwithstanding the grounds of suspension of a license under paragraph A of this subsection, the license of a promoter is an entertainment wrestling performance may be suspended if the license fails to provide the superintendent at least 10 days prior to the performance an affidavit that certifies that all participants who are going to participate in the entertainment wrestling performance are free of blood-borne pathogens.
Okay.
That was another agreement that was made with the Oregon Boxing and Wrestling Commission to help ensure safety to the entertainers, to the promoters, and to the fans, of course. So I just wanted to draw your attention to the reasons for the amendments, and I believe all parties are aboard with these amendments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Herring, would that be your, have you had a chance to look at the amendments? Because basically what it is, it's a gut and stuff. So we would be removing everything from the bill that's currently in there and replacing it with the amendment. Is that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We certainly worked, and I'd like to, on the record, thank Stan for working with us as well as with the commission. He has done a lot of due diligence to make sure that the bill not only protected the commission, the fans of this state that would be in attendance, as well as working with us to ensure that we were in compliance with what would work, and we certainly are. I just want to reiterate that we do look out for our participants more so than a lot of other events possibly coming in. We have blood pathogen programs in place. We have medical requirements in place. Our blood-borne pathogen program has been through OSHA. It's aggressive. We have our own doctors. When we do our TV events, we have doctors in attendance. So we monitor very, very strongly as we have to. The other thing I would like to bring to your attention is that when we come to an area for our televised events, we use all local either union stagehands through your local employment.
Actors, you know.
Yeah, well, we hire, just for TV, we probably bring in over 200 local people for rigging, staging. So the employment related to that, the ancillary part of that is the local effect, not only for people coming the taxes, but the employment for a couple of days to try and get the staging up, the lighting up, the rigging, and sound, and so on.
Okay. It's good to know. Are there any questions for Representative Mabry? You have a question.
I do. The comment you made about reserving a date for May and the impending problems with that, I did a very quick look, but I don't see an emergency clause. Is there an emergency clause in it?
Yes, I can address that, Chair Crummell and Representative Mabry. We originally wanted to put an emergency clause in this. However, I think that what can happen is through regulation. Since the Wrestling Commission is willing to go along with what we want to do, that can be accomplished through regulation. The reason why we cannot have an emergency clause in this, because this in essence is a revenue-raising bill, because since there are more shows scheduled, more money will be collected in the form of tax on the tickets, and it is not constitutional to have an emergency clause with revenue-raising measures.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was very interesting to me too. So I think that if they want to schedule a show for May 13th, we can do it through the regulatory process, not the legislative process.
My only question about that, Representative, is that through the under current statute, because this wouldn't take effect until January 1 of 2004.
Correct.
Under current statute, does the commission have the authority to change those?
Well, we will explore that, and Representative Crummell, I think they do, since these regulations came through administrative rule and not statute. So what I want to do is I want to show the Wrestling Commission that we have legislative intent to enact this, and therefore they can go to the upcoming legislation that will be enacted January of 2004 and say, hey, we can do this.
Okay. Okay, Representative Nelson and then Representative Kitts. Oh, you didn't have a question, did you? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Smith, I think I don't understand all this, but in your testimony, you talk about the State Wrestling Commission. It was my understanding we were getting rid of the State Wrestling Commission.
The State Wrestling Commission will remain.
So we're going to have we're
We're
going to have two commissions now instead of one.
No, currently we have a boxing and wrestling commission that are combined.
We have one.
Yeah, we have one that'll
Now we're
stay
gonna
that way.
have two.
No, it'll still stay the way it is.
Chairman Crummell, Representative Nelson, if I may.
Right.
It still exists, the Boxing and Wrestling Commission. There's just one new item that will fall under their jurisdiction, for they'll be issuing a promoter's license. What we're doing is we're getting them out of the entertainment wrestling portion of the regulation and just allowing them to issue a promoter's license.
Right.
So only one commission.
Well,
Follow up?
yes, Mr. Chair. My notes here say we would remove wrestling from the Boxing and Wrestling Commission's purview and rename the organization the Oregon Boxing Commission. Is that true or false?
Representative Nelson, I can clarify that. The original bill would do that. The -1 amendments don't remove that provision of the name change of the organization. And so the staff measure summary, which you have before you, was written before I received the -1 amendments, and so that provision, the name change of the organization, does not take place with the -1 amendments.
So then, just to clarify this, Mr. Chair.
Clarification.
So in Representative Smith's testimony, where you say the State Wrestling Commission will be allowed to issue a promoter's license, what you really mean is the State Boxing and Wrestling Commission will. Is that right? So we're not getting rid of...
That is correct, Representative